everyone has been waiting with anticipation for Audi to make a move in the drivers' market. The team, named Sauber until the huge German manufacturer takes over in 2026, has both of its current drivers out of contract at the end of this season, and discussions about what they might want from the new drivers has been heated. Now, Audi have made a move, and Niko Hulkenberg is the first of their 2 drivers to be confirmed. What's the contract like? Why have they gone for Hulkenberg? And what does this mean for their second seat? I'll answer all of this and more in the next couple of minutes, so don't go anywhere. The F1 transfer market is massive this season, with well over half of the grid out of contract come December. Lewis Hamilton was the first to make a move, taking Carlos Sainz's seat at Ferrari. Then Fernando Alonso penned a new deal with Aston Martin, keeping him at the team as a driver for many more years, and then taking a non-driving role when he's ready. Haas are one of the many teams that has both drivers out of contract at the end of the season. Coming into 2024, expectations for Haas were very low. Gunther Steiner was given the axe over the winter. Well, technically, his contract ran out and wasn't renewed, but Gene Haas still had to make the decision to not renew it. He was replaced by Io Komatsu. The 47-year-old has a long history in F1, and in Gene's own words, Io has been with the team since day one. He knows the ins and outs of it. The appointment continued a trend that has emerged in F1 recently, where teams have hired bosses with more of an engineer's brain. Think of McLaren with Andrea Stella or James Vowles at Williams. These aren't the huge personalities of F1 at the turn of the millennium. They aren't Flavio Briatore or Bernie Ecclestone. They are much more considered men who make their decisions based on facts, not feelings. Gene Haas said Komatsu looks at things based on statistics, while Steiner was better on the operational side of the organization, acting as more of a man-manager. Komatsu didn't come in promising the world, though. In fact, he was pretty blunt in saying that he expected his team to be dead last from race 1 as they tried to sort out their mess of a car. He has certainly exceeded the very low expectations he's set so far. Haas sits 7th in the Constructors' Championship with 5 championship points, 2 behind VCarb, who have Yuki Tsunoda's 7th place in Australia to thank for their lofty position. Behind Haas sit 3 teams with 0 points. What often happens in the battle at the bottom of the grid is that one team secures a 7th place finish more than those behind them, and that decides the order at the end of the season. But what Haas have been excellent at in 2024 is hoovering up any loose points at the back of the top 10. Their 4-point finishes, 3 for Hulkenberg and 1 for Magnussen, has shown an outstanding consistency normally reserved for the top teams. Before the first race, Haas was probably the least desirable seat to be in on the grid, and their options in the transfer market were probably limited to the drivers that other teams didn't want. They were going to be scraping the bottom of the proverbial barrel. That isn't quite the case anymore, though there's still plenty of season left for that to change. Hulkenberg especially has been a revelation since his return to the sport. A regular feature in Q3 last season, he's continued that impressive form in 2024. 2 Q3 entries and 3 points finishes in 5 races is an excellent return for anyone driving a Haas, even if the car is a bit better than expected. As the only German on the grid, and one of the most experienced drivers in the sport at the moment, he's been heavily linked to Audi since the manufacturer announced they would be taking over the Sauber team in 2026. Despite the Sauber team being inferior to Haas so far this season, Hulkenberg is looking to the future, and Audi are expected to be much more competitive thanks to a big budget and their own engine. With that in mind, he's signed on for a 3-year stint at the team, keeping him in F1 until 2028 and on the cusp of turning 40. Sauber CEO Andreas Seidl, who will be the head of the new Audi team as well, wanted to replace Bottas with Hulkenberg for this season, but Haas were unwilling to let the impressive German go. Hulkenberg has apparently been at the top of his wish list since signing with the team, and it's obvious why. Hulkenberg might not be flashy, he might not be exciting, he might break the record for the most race starts without a win in Miami, but he can perform at a high level consistently. His experience is the asset that Audi wants to leverage. They'll be building their first engine and car for brand new technical regulations. There'll be a lot of new staff joining the Sauber team as they move to Germany. Everything will be in flux, so having a driver that they can depend on to get the job done on Saturday and Sunday, while providing insightful and useful feedback to the team, is vital. By having Hulkenberg, Audi can depend on a driver who is going to help them develop the car. Remember that he was a development driver behind the scenes at Aston Martin who helped build that 2023 car which shocked the grid at the start of the season. He might not have an incredible race-winning, championship-challenging record, but he is the real deal. For now, the favourite for the second seat is still Carlos Sainz. Discussions have been had between Audi and Sainz, and it's hard to imagine an offer hasn't already been made. The only thing that might delay that decision for the Spaniard is what else is on the table for him. Are Red Bull potentially going to offer him a seat if Checo can't keep up his levels? Is Aston Martin finally considering swapping Lance Stroll with someone else? There is also Mercedes, but they're not going to give Sainz a race-winning car anytime soon, so probably aren't in Carlos's equation. A lineup of Sainz and Hulkenberg would provide excellent and consistent performance. If something was wrong, it would definitely be with the car, not with the driver, and the importance of that cannot be overstated. If there was a rookie driver in one seat, you might question whether it is their skills which are the problem, but with the experience of Sainz and Hulkenberg, you know they're going to be able to point out the problems with confidence. For Haas, Nico leaving is a massive loss. Despite their impressive early season form, they aren't likely to be the first choice for anyone on the grid, while there's a seat at Mercedes and Red Bull up for grabs. Komatsu would have loved to have kept a driver of Nico's caliber at the team for a few more years to help them develop the 2026 car, but now they'll have to look elsewhere. It's probably the Alpine team that Haas should be focusing on. Gasly and Ocon are obviously both unhappy there. They know just how bad things are behind the scenes, and a place on a team with some stability and some decent results would be an excellent stepping stone to help either of them get back to where they want to be, which is in a race-winning car. There is always Ferrari Junior driver Ollie Bearman as well, who put in a solid performance in Saudi Arabia when he deputized for Carlos Sainz. However, since then, Bearman has failed to impress in F2. A singular 9th place finish is the only points he has, with teammate and potential Mercedes driver for next season, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, has 4-point finishes in 6 starts and has dominated Ollie when they've raced together. After their recent experiences with rookie drivers though, Gene Haas might be keen to let more experienced hands drive his multi-million-dollar race cars. What do you think of Audi's decision to sign Niko Hulkenberg for 3 seasons? Is he the right choice, or would you have preferred someone else to take a seat on the team? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.